What's up, everyone? Hope everyone's having a good day. So I just wanted to make a quick upload here because the video I've been working on, it's taken me a lot longer than I had previously anticipated. All the research I'm doing is like conflicting with the person I'm talking with that has first-person knowledge, and it's just kind of getting really kind of murky and convoluted. I'm still going to do the video because I think it's a great story, and it really hasn't been told, not in full anyhow. So I'm going to keep plugging through with it, but I've been waiting kind of to hear from people and to get some help with other stuff, and I'm not sure if it's gonna come or it's gonna happen. So I'm just gonna keep pushing forward with the video. But with that being said, while researching that video, I came across something which was a surprise to me. It's something that I had never personally read or heard before. It's kind of funny because just like a week ago, somebody was quizzing me on this, asking me if I knew of the other person that was involved. And I was like, to my knowledge, I didn't know there was another person involved. So while sifting through like all these minute like black and whites in the court documents and FBI files pertaining to like the Jimmy Lamole situation and Vinny Ferrara and his RICO case and the big RICO indictment that happened because of the taped mafia induction ceremony in Medford. After looking through all these files and stuff like that, something popped up. And I was like kind of surprised, and it was kind of just random because I just was asked by somebody a couple of days before, like a week before, if I knew anything about that situation, and I said I didn't. So basically, most people who follow this genre and watch my videos and like this kind of stuff, most people know about JR Russo. I mean, the guy is a legend from Boston. He's probably one of the most sharp-dressed gangsters in the history of of organized crime, and he pulled off one of the greatest hits in history. So most people know about him, and they know about that hit. But I was always under the assumption that he was alone, that he was by himself. I thought he kind of was just like a lone wolf, was sent out there to like track down Barboza and get him. I didn't think there was anybody else from Boston or New England that came with him. Maybe he had some help from people that were out there, that they had connections with people on the West Coast, and they like set him up with, you know, weapons and cars and whatever else he needed to get it done. So anyways, backtrack here a little bit real quick. So Joe Barboza, the self-proclaimed Portuguese from New Bedford, who like was completely enamored at one moment in time with Raymond Patriarca Sr. and Henry Talmiello. I mean, he looked up to these guys like they were, you know, gods almost. He would do anything for them. Like he was killing people for free just to show respect and to get these guys to like him more. So anyways, things went sour between Barboza and the mafia, and they said he had to go. He was a liability. So Barboza, before they could whack him, Barboza got picked up in Boston on a warrant, and he was being held in jail. While he was being held in jail, his local minions, Tosh Bratos, Tommy DePricio, Chico D'Amico, Patsy Fabiano, to name a few, they were out there on the street, and they were still with him. They're like, we're still. Barboza had the East Boston gang, and they were the core members of his gang, and they're like, no, we're still with Barboza. They were trying to raise bail money to get him out. His bail was $100,000, which was a lot of money in those days. Somehow, they managed to raise almost $80,000, I believe. I think it was either $78,000 or it was just over 80, maybe 82 or 84,000. A substantial amount of money for back then, for the 1960s. So, I don't know what Tosh Bratos was thinking. He contacts the North End, who they put an X on Barboza. They don't want anything to do with Barboza anymore. There's tension between his gang and the North End. Tosh Bratos has been going around for years telling everybody that he's going to kill Larry Zannino, the number 2 in Boston underneath Jerry Angiulo, because Larry Zannino killed Tosh Bratos' older brother in the 1950s. So Bratos would get drunk at bars and tell everybody, I'm going to kill Zannino. I'm going to kill Larry Bayonne. So, I mean, these guys contact the North End and they say, we've raised, you know, whatever it was, $78,000 or $84,000. Can you guys meet the difference? They say, oh, yeah, of course we can, sure. Just come to the Nightlight Cafe in the North End, Ralphie Chong's joint, that's where we're at. come there and we'll give you what the difference is. But make sure you bring the money you have with you so we know how much you have. We don't want to be confused about what the actual amount is. I mean, are you kidding me? So these guys fall for that shit. They go to the Nightlight Cafe, Tosh Bratos and Tommy DePricio, and right, it was Tommy DePricio with Tosh Bratos. So they go there. They're immediately whacked. The bail money is stolen. Chico Miko is in a car waiting for him. They never show up, so he calls the cops. Said, my friends went to the Nightlight Cafe and they never came back. We're supposed to meet up. The cops show up there as Ralphie Chung's replacing the carpet and wiping the blood off the floor. So Zanino Larry Bielma was pissed about that, by the way. He's one of his great sayings. You don't crack him inside the joint, you take him outside and you crack him on the sidewalk. I love doing the Zanino voice. But so Barboza hears about this in prison, goes berserk. They killed my favorite guys. They killed two of my best friends. And then shortly after that, they killed Chico Miko, which was like his little brother. They stole his bail money. There's no way he's getting out of prison. The mafia is turned against him. They're killing all his buddies. So he decides to get even. So he decides to flip. He knows the only way he can get any type of revenge on these guys is by turning an informant and getting them locked up in prison. So that's exactly what he does. And meanwhile, in the meantime, while he does it, he purges the hell out of himself, lies, just bald-faced lies on the stand, and puts innocent men. I mean, they're innocent of the crimes. They could have done other stuff in their lifetime that they're not innocent of, but they were innocent of the crimes they've been charged with. The Teddy Deegan murder. It was this guy, that Jimmy Flemmy, who was Barbosa's best friend, was a guy from Chelsea, a tough guy. He was like a master thief. Him and Jimmy the Bear were getting into a beef, and it was gonna be like a killer be killed situation. So Barboza and Jimmy the Bear killed Deegan, and then to take the heat off of his friend the Bear, and to get these guys that he didn't like in trouble, Barboza put it on them, and they got sent away. 2 of them got life sentences, and 2 of them got death sentences. I mean, it's crazy shit. And the FBI, who recruited Barboza, they wanted him so bad as an informant. And when he called and said that he wanted to be an informant, they were so excited. That's exactly what they want. Anybody, he could give them so much dirt on everybody in Boston. It didn't matter that the guy confessed to 26 murders. The guy confessed to 26 murders. And they're like, that's fine. Just get us some mafia guys we'll put them away for one murder that they didn't even commit. I mean, this is how messed up that the government is and the FBI is. Let's be honest. Let's take a guy who just killed 26 people and free him for his false testimony, his perjured testimony, to put innocent guys away for a murder of one person that they didn't even kill. Okay, wow. And then the agent Dennis Condon, when they were still trying to recruit Cadillac Frank Salemi when he was in prison, they went up to him and they said, hey, how do you think Louis Greco likes it on death row? And he knew that he was innocent of the crime. He knew he didn't kill Teddy Deegan. He had nothing to do with it. He wasn't even there that night. The guy probably didn't even know who Teddy Deegan was. So he's got death row though, and the FBI agent thinks it's funny. He's making a joke about it. It's sick. So anyways, getting off on tangents here. So Barboza, they set him up. He's the first person ever in the witness protection program. They created the witness protection program for Joe Barboza. They held him on Thatcher Island off of Rockport and Gloucester. The Twin Lights, it's like these famous old lighthouses that were built in the 1800s by the English government. And he was held there in the lightkeeper's house. And they had U.S. Marshals protect him. And he stayed there for a while he was testifying in all these, perjuring himself in all these trials. So after the trials, they send him out to Santa Rosa, California. He was under the impression he was going to get plastic surgery to change his appearance because the guy you could not miss this mug, the mug on this guy. You can't mistake him for anybody else. And they were going to buy him a restaurant because he always cooked when he was in prison. He loves cooking. So he wanted a restaurant. So the FBI delivered neither of these things. They got him a job at a nice restaurant, but it was like a menial job. He freaked out after a couple days working there. Maybe not even, maybe one shift. He goes back, starts hanging out with a bunch of dirtbags and lowlifes. And he starts hanging out with this guy, Clay Wilson. He's out in Santa Rosa, California. He starts hanging out with this guy, Clay Wilson, who's selling like crappy biker speed, crank speed with his doped up girlfriend. Barboza starts having sex with this guy's girlfriend. Him and Clay get into a beef, whether it was about money or drugs or him sleeping with the guy's girl. Barboza lures him out into the woods. Somehow he gets the guy to follow him out in the woods. He kills him, buries him in a shallow grave. The guy and goes back. Then he goes back to the guy's house and has sex with his doped up girlfriend. Like he was like a real piece of work. This guy, he was on a different level of scumminess. So, of course, he's caught for it. I mean, the body's found in the woods because like the guy's like foot sticking out of the ground. They know it's Barboza. So he goes to trial for it. The FBI steps in. They must have felt bad about the fact that they didn't give the guy a restaurant and give him plastic surgery. And they interview, no, Mr. Barboza helped us so much to put away these very dangerous criminals who didn't even kill one guy, you know. But he's out here already murdering somebody within like a year or two of being in the witness protection program. So he ends up getting sentenced to 5 years. This guy's already killed 20. He's already admitted to killing 26 people. And he's already killed a person now in his new life. And he gets a 5-year manslaughter charge. But in the meantime, his identity and his whereabouts and stuff, it all comes out in the trial. So the Boston guys out back here in New England and in Boston, they know, okay, Barboza's out in California. He's in Northern California. That's where he is. So he does his 5 years in San Quentin. He gets out. He's got an apartment in San Francisco. And I'm pretty sure that Angulo planted this guy, James Chalmers, out there. He was like a small-time Boston hood. They probably gave him some money, or he had some problem with him that needed to be straightened out. But he goes out there in San Francisco, and they have him bump into Barboza. Barboza sees him. Oh, he's a Boston guy. He's Chalmers. He's not Italian. He's not with the mafia. He's like, he's probably lonely, homesick, so he strikes up a friendship with this guy. They start becoming friends and stuff. So one night, leaving his apartment, February 11th, 1976, he's walking down the street in San Francisco back to his $250 apartment that he lived in, which is now probably $4,000 a month at the lowest rent possible in San Francisco. Just had to throw that in for fucking assholes, these rents. Car pulls up to him. I believe it was a van pulls up to him, and sliding door pops open, and out pops JR Russo, the East Boston assassin, with a Colt 35. Boom, boom, boom. No more Joe Barboza. One of the most famous hits in mafia history. It made JR Russo an absolute street legend in the city of Boston. Like, the guy's immortal. Like, his name will ring bells forever. And it wasn't just for his, fine fashion sense. The guy was a stone cold killer, and Barboza was like, he was the biggest thorn in the mafia side. Like, he fucked with them so bad. Like, he straight up lied on the stand, and the government knew it, and they still put those guys away. Like, they wanted him like no one else. Like, he epitomized everything that they hated, So JR Russo did this, and of course, then Larry Zanino's other most famous quote that was caught on wiretap, and this is how everybody knows that Russo did it, because Zanino kind of dry snitched him. He didn't know he was being recorded, but that's what they call dry snitching. But I mean, it's true. So, but Bayonne's sitting there at the doghouse, and he goes, "He's a fucking genius with a carbine," And so, I mean, he fucking blasted him. He's dead. No more Barboza. Rest in peace. So, I always thought he was alone, but apparently there was a young Boston mafioso with him. This guy is very important now. He didn't pull the trigger. I'm not saying that this other guy pulled the trigger, was in the murder, but he was with Russo apparently. And the feds know this, but they never charged him because they couldn't prove it. I'm not going to say his name, but it rhymes with Ducky. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe, leave a comment, make a request. And if you can't tell, I didn't write a script for this one. I don't think it was too bad. I just kind of did it off the hip. But I'm going to get back to working on this Jimmy Lamoli video, and hopefully it'll be done sometime this year. It's fucking stressing me out. Have a great day, guys.